Never seen so many beautiful things.
Yes, they are lovely, aren't they?
Haven't we met before?
It's quite possible. I've been here for some time.
Friendship is a remarkable bond that has the capacity to uplift our spirits, accompany us through life's inevitable challenges, and become a powerful source of warmth and belonging. When people think of genuine companionship, they often envision a relationship built on trust, respect, empathy, and the willingness to grow together through both triumphs and hardships. True friends can reflect our best qualities, encourage us to face obstacles with fortitude, and inspire us to celebrate every moment of success. However, there are times when friendship is only an illusion, an imitation that masquerades as loyalty but hides selfishness, manipulation, and insincerity underneath. This type of connection can be described as a fake friendship. The impact of such disingenuous relationships is often subtle at first, but grows more apparent and painful as time passes. Recognizing the signs, understanding why they occur, and learning how to address them can offer crucial insights for anyone seeking healthier connections. It is crucial to highlight that no relationship is flawless. Real friends can experience miscommunications, disagreements, or occasional lapses. The critical difference is that genuine companions prioritize understanding, mutual well-being, and growth, whereas deceptive individuals look out primarily for their own interests. Following this overview, the discussion moves into one behavior at a time, spotlighting the tactics, motivations, and signs that surface when a friend is not what they claim to be. The purpose is not to promote suspicion in every interaction, but to empower readers with knowledge, reinforce the importance of psychological health, and guide the development of better boundaries. By the end of this text, the complexities of fake friendship will be laid bare, leaving readers equipped with both discernment and practical approaches for handling such encounters. The difference between authentic and fake friendship. Although this work centers on exposing the hallmarks of fake companionship, it is helpful to understand how real and authentic friendships typically manifest. Authentic friendship rests on an honest desire to connect with another person. In such relationships, individuals not only present their best selves, but also allow room for vulnerability, mistakes, and growth. There is an unspoken understanding that each person matters beyond what they can offer, materially or socially. Trust is built through consistent demonstrations of honesty, loyalty, genuine care, and a willingness to listen. Respect likewise emerges from acknowledging each other's boundaries, ideas, and personal space without judgment or manipulation. When two people share a meaningful connection, empathy weaves through their conversations, ensuring that one friend can sense the other's emotional undercurrents. Forgiveness becomes a natural response to mild conflicts, given that both parties want to preserve their special bond. Reciprocity also becomes a defining feature as each individual invests time, energy, and emotional support into maintaining that relationship. Even though real friends may argue, let each other down unintentionally, or feel distant during certain phases of life, the commitment to make amends and return to a place of closeness remains unwavering. Fake friendship departs from these qualities in critical ways. The underpinnings of this dynamic rely heavily on self-serving agendas. Friendliness may present itself initially, yet it remains superficial. The companion might appear thoughtful in group settings or make grand gestures occasionally, but deeper interactions feel off or draining. Support often feels conditional, offered only if it aligns with that person's interests. Over time, inconsistencies and patterns of manipulation begin to materialize, and negative effects on one's emotional well-being become increasingly obvious. Talking behind your back. One primary sign of a deceptive companion is that they talk disparagingly about you when you are not present. Gossip, rumor spreading, and the intentional breaking of confidences represent the behavior of someone who prioritizes popularity, self-preservation, or entertainment over loyalty. Such actions can be deeply hurtful, especially if you have trusted this person with personal issues or sensitive information. The betrayal can shatter confidence and sow feelings of anxiety, shame, and bewilderment as you attempt to figure out why someone who calls themselves a friend would actively cause harm. The root cause of this behavior can vary. In many instances, individuals who engage in constant gossip or rumor spreading experience personal insecurities and deflect them by sowing drama elsewhere. They might also yearn for social status or control and discover that revealing personal facts or secrets about you garners them temporary influence. In certain social circles, negativity or derision can become currency, as the one who holds the juiciest tidbit can appear more interesting. This inclination may additionally be perpetuated if they have never developed healthy conflict resolution skills. Instead of discussing problems directly or voicing concerns to you face to face, they belittle or degrade you behind the scenes. They perceive that approach as simpler or safer. Regardless of the justification, this breach of trust undermines the integrity of the relationship. The impact of being spoken about behind your back is multi-layered. At first, the knowledge that a friend has been sharing your vulnerabilities, mistakes, or personal stories can create a sense of betrayal. This can lead to feelings of isolation, paranoia, and self-doubt. It is natural to question whether you misjudged the friendship or if you have done something that warranted disloyalty. Over time, these negative emotions can build an inner fortress of distrust. You might pull away from other healthy relationships or become guarded about who you open up to, potentially blocking genuine connections. From an educational perspective, dealing with such a painful discovery involves several steps. Initially, it can be wise to confirm the rumor's source. On occasion, miscommunication or misunderstandings can occur, so clarifying the accuracy of the gossip can prevent overreaction towards someone who might be innocent. If it becomes evident that this individual consistently engages in backstabbing, approaching them calmly and directly can be helpful. While it may not salvage the relationship, it can provide a platform for closure or an apology. If the friend responds with hostility, denial, or more manipulation, focusing on your own well-being and distancing yourself might be best. Seeking the support of friends who are proven to be trustworthy, or even consulting a mental health professional for deeper emotional wounds can alleviate some of the hurt. Throwing you under the bus. A second hallmark of a fake friend is the willingness to pin blame on you or abandon you when circumstances become difficult. This type of companion often lacks the courage or moral compass to stand up for others. When tension arises, they instinctively prioritize their own safety, reputation, or security, and they do so by redirecting scrutiny or consequences towards someone else. Whether in work-related situations, group projects at school, family settings, or social gatherings, being blamed unfairly can cultivate intense frustration and a sense of powerlessness. Abandonment under pressure also manifests in subtle ways. For example, if you are struggling with mental health challenges or facing a tough life situation, you may find that a supposedly close friend disappears instead of offering emotional support. They might cite being too busy or overwhelmed, but in reality, they are deliberately distancing themselves. This can feel especially harsh if you have supported them through their challenges in the past. Their lack of empathy and reciprocation indicates that they are more invested in convenience than genuine companionship. One reason individuals adopt this blame-shifting approach is their own fragile self-esteem. They may experience fear that acknowledging their errors will fracture their self-image. Rather than accepting accountability, they exploit your goodwill by crafting narratives that cast you in the role of the problem. Alternatively, they might operate from a place of deep selfishness, seeing every social interaction as a strategic move. They consider protecting themselves paramount and do not view loyalty to friends as important. In extreme cases, they might harbor narcissistic traits, leading them to consider others as extras in the story of their own life. The psychological cost of such betrayal can be significant. It can trigger confusion, self-criticism, and heartbreak. If this occurs repeatedly, you might begin questioning your instincts about friendship and collaboration, especially if the social environment believes the deceptive narrative. On a broader scale, this can harm future relationships or professional endeavors. You may wonder if people around you perceive you in a negative light, or if they believe misleading accusations about your behavior or abilities. A constructive approach involves identifying the pattern and refusing to be scapegoated. If feasible, calmly but firmly refute false claims and, when necessary, present facts or evidence that clarify your role in a misunderstanding. While it might feel daunting, setting the record straight is an important step in maintaining self-respect and limiting damage to your reputation. If this pattern persists, minimize collaboration or personal involvement with the individual. Seeking a mentor's guidance, consulting a counselor, or confiding in a genuine friend can help you cope with the emotional fallout and develop strategies for healthier relationships. Constant cancellations. Another action that tends to surface when someone is pretending to be a friend is the inability or unwillingness to follow through on plans and commitments. This may appear as chronic last-minute cancellations or indefinite postponements. Although everyone has the occasional emergency or moment of overbooking, a real friend typically shows a sense of responsibility when it comes to social engagements. They make the effort to communicate openly, attempt to reschedule if they truly cannot attend, or at least exhibit genuine regret for missing out. When a person consistently disregards your time and effort, it suggests that you are not high on their priority list. They might have found a more entertaining social opportunity, forgotten entirely, or decided they simply do not feel like investing energy in you. Over time, these repeated instances can erode any sense of reliability. You might be left feeling that your presence or feelings do not matter to them. This not only causes inconveniences, but can also chip away at your confidence and sense of belonging, especially if you had looked forward to spending time together or had planned a group event. Persistent cancellations can stem from various underlying motivations. A segment of people thrives on spontaneity, or may even struggle with time management issues. If they also show remorse or a desire to make it up to you, they might not necessarily be fake friends, just poorly organized. However, if someone flippantly cancels and then does not address it at all, they likely do not respect your time. Another possibility is that they are using their presence as a form of power, leveraging unpredictability to keep others off balance, or to maintain a perception of high social value. From a mental and emotional standpoint, constantly being on the receiving end of last-minute cancellations can leave you feeling demoralized. You may question whether you did something wrong, if your company is not enjoyable, or if you matter less to this person than they matter to you. The situation can complicate group dynamics if plans hinge on their attendance. You might find yourself repeatedly explaining to others why your friend is absent or dealing with the discomfort of last-minute rearrangements. Responding effectively requires a mixture of self-reflection and setting clear boundaries. It is worth having an open conversation to determine why these flakeouts keep happening. Clarify how it makes you feel and see whether they are willing to adjust. Observe their response. If they acknowledge your sentiments and make a genuine effort to show up as promised, the friendship might be salvageable. If they dismiss your concerns, react defensively, or continue the same patterns, reevaluating the relationship could be necessary. Another valuable lesson is to diversify your social interactions. Relying on multiple supportive connections lessens the emotional blow from being let down by a single person. Exclusion from plans. The feeling of being excluded by someone you considered a friend can be profoundly disheartening. This dynamic might become evident when you discover that a friend planned social gatherings, trips, or other activities without informing you, even though you made it a habit to invite them to your own events. Perhaps the group is going on a weekend getaway, and you learn about it through social media posts, or maybe there was a fun birthday dinner or a spontaneous movie night that everyone knew about except you. The motivation behind deliberate exclusion can vary widely. Some individuals might do it due to peer pressure or fear of losing their own standing within a certain social circle. Others engage in exclusionary tactics to maintain a sense of control or status, where limiting who is in and who is out becomes a form of social maneuvering. In some cases, the friend might harbor hidden resentment or jealousy, so they choose to leave you out as a subtle form of payback or as a way to feel superior. Whatever the origin, exclusion is typically not something a genuine friend intentionally or consistently practices. Over time, repeated exclusion can make you doubt your sense of belonging, perhaps even leading you to question whether your personality, interests, or style of communication is off-putting. This can push you toward feelings of low self-worth, which could influence your interactions in other areas of life. For instance, anxiety about being unwanted may creep into workplace relationships, family gatherings, or new social opportunities. Some individuals respond by withdrawing socially altogether to avoid further rejection. This withdrawal, however, can intensify isolation and may lead to its own cycle of loneliness. To address the emotional weight of exclusion, it is helpful to communicate openly with the individual or group in question. You might say you felt hurt after discovering events you were not invited to and ask if there was a reason for it. Their response can reveal much about their attitudes. In some cases, you may uncover misunderstandings or scheduling oversights. If that is not the situation, and the exclusion was intentional, you now have clarity about where you stand. While it can be painful, knowledge is a powerful ally. You can channel your energy into more supportive relationships and protect your emotional health by stepping back from connections that belittle or dismiss you. Calls solely for favors. Another pattern associated with insincere friendship is the habit of reaching out only when a need arises. This might occur in the form of a sudden phone call, message, or social media communication where the individual promptly dives into a request. It could be asking for money, career assistance, help moving, academic support, or even personal services. The common denominator is the absence of any genuine interest in your life. Often, as soon as you meet their request, they disappear again. returning only when they need the next favor. People who function this way often view relationships as transactional. Their worldview may be shaped by opportunism, a desire to accumulate resources or conveniences without expending effort in return. They might reason that they have a right to your help, particularly if you are known for being kind and generous. In other instances, they might not even consciously realize the extent to which their actions are exploitative. Having grown up in environments where relationships were treated as stepping stones, nonetheless, the strain placed on the receiver is palpable, leading to exhaustion and even resentment if the cycle goes on for too long. The emotional effect of this one-sided dynamic should not be overlooked. When a person you once considered a friend contacts you, it may initially spark a sense of hope for reconnection or desire to re-establish camaraderie. The disappointment sets in quickly when you realize they are not interested in how you have been, what projects you are working on, or how your emotional state is. Instead, they jump straight into describing their dilemma. This repeated pattern can chip away at your willingness to help others in general, as you may grow wary that more requests are manipulative or insincere. To protect your mental and emotional bandwidth, consider examining your own boundaries. If you are a naturally helpful person, you may find it difficult to say no. Reflect on how you feel when repeatedly stepping in to solve another's problems. Notice any frustration, fatigue, or sense of being used. It can be educational to practice turning down requests politely or redirecting them to other resources if you sense that your relationship is purely transactional. The individual's reaction to your refusal can reveal their true colors. In healthy friendships, someone might respect your limitations and still wish to remain part of your life. In manipulative or fake friendships, refusal might lead to anger, guilt-tripping, or cold withdrawal. Although it can sting, standing your ground helps ward off further exploitation. Backhanded compliments. Subtly insulting praise is another aspect of an inauthentic friendship. These remarks often sound positive on the surface, but carry an undercurrent of criticism or condescension. A friend might say, "You did better than they expected" on a project, leaving a lingering question about why their expectations were so low in the first place. Or they could mention how nice you look for once, implying that your usual appearance is lacking. The phenomenon of backhanded compliments underscores a power struggle. It conveys the message, "I want to undermine you," while appearing supportive. This practice can stem from envy, rivalry, or an unacknowledged sense of inferiority. The person administering such compliments may feel threatened by your achievements, talents, or positive qualities, so they resort to subtle belittling to level the playing field in their own mind. Because these remarks can be dismissed as jokes or offhanded comments, individuals delivering them might claim innocence if confronted. They can then blame you for taking things too seriously. Over time, the effect of consistent backhanded compliments can be devastating to self-esteem. You may start second-guessing your abilities, personal style, or worthiness. The confusion arises from an emotional tug-of-war. Was the remark intended to be encouraging or demeaning? You might sense the negativity, but struggle to pinpoint the exact slight. This subtle erosion of self-confidence can become a trap, particularly if you value the speaker's opinion or wish to remain in their social circle. The educational approach to handling backhanded compliments involves trusting your intuition. If a remark repeatedly feels off, it likely is. One technique is to respond calmly with a request for clarification. For instance, you could thank them for the compliment while politely asking what they mean. This method forces the person to either explain their statement more transparently or backpedal. Another strategy is to let go of the need for their approval. A friend who is regularly injecting negativity into your life is not looking out for your best interest. Your mental health is well served by limiting exposure to people who undermine you, whether blatantly or covertly. Identifying this pattern can also help you develop resilience as you learn to validate yourself rather than relying on disingenuous praise from people who may want to see you struggle. One-sided conversations. A final habit that suggests a friendship may be superficial involves the flow of communication. A caring friend invests in a balanced exchange. They show interest in your emotional world, your projects, or your aspirations. There is a sense of give and take, of mutual curiosity. In a dynamic where someone only talks about themselves, the conversation becomes lopsided. You might spend entire hangouts or calls listening to them outline their recent successes, heartbreaks, future plans, and random thoughts. When you attempt to share, they appear bored or hurried, quickly shifting the topic back to their own experiences. While many people do enjoy talking about their lives, consistent disregard for your perspective reveals a lack of empathy and respect. This type of friend could be so absorbed in their own internal dramas that they do not see the value in truly connecting with you. Alternatively, they might be using you as an emotional sounding board without any interest in your well-being, effectively turning the friendship into an unpaid therapy session or an attentive audience. This behavior can also arise in those who harbor traits of narcissism, in which empathy is limited and the focus on self-importance is heightened. The repercussions may include feelings of emptiness after you meet. Instead of walking away energized, you might feel drained. Over time, this dynamic can foster resentment and discourage you from initiating contact. You might question your own social value, wondering if you are merely a convenience rather than a cherished friend. Low self-esteem could creep in as well, although the real issue lies in the person's self-absorption rather than any shortcoming on your part. Addressing this problem requires honest dialogue and, at times, emotional fortitude. You might try gently steering the conversation in your direction, offering updates or reflections about your life. If the other person continuously interrupts or dismisses your words, consider speaking more directly about the imbalance. Explain that you value the relationship, but notice how rarely they show interest in your experiences. Notice how they respond. True friends will likely exhibit remorse and endeavor to improve. If the pattern continues unchanged, you have valuable insight into the nature of that bond. Reducing the amount of time you spend with them can preserve energy for interactions that uplift you. Emotional and psychological costs of fake friendship. Beyond these individual behaviors lies a broader emotional toll that stems from investing time and trust in a fake friend. Humans are social creatures with a strong need for belonging, so discovering that you have been manipulated or disregarded by someone you care about can leave deep scars. Issues such as anxiety, depression, and chronic stress may develop. Self-doubt or even self-blame can flourish, particularly if your sense of judgment regarding people was proven wrong. In some unfortunate cases, fake friendships can trigger patterns of codependency or learned helplessness, where you find yourself repeatedly drawn to relationships that replicate the same unbalanced dynamic. This emotional burden can also manifest in physical symptoms. Stress, rumination, and heartbreak often correlate with headaches, trouble sleeping, fatigue, or changes in appetite. The mental preoccupation with a betrayal can be draining, making it difficult to focus on work, academics, or other positive relationships. Over a prolonged period, A state of chronic stress may compromise immune function, overall well-being, and daily motivation. It is important to remember that none of these outcomes indicate personal weakness. Rather, they highlight the insidious effect a manipulative or uncaring friend can have. Recognizing these negative consequences is a wake-up call, urging you to protect yourself by establishing firm boundaries or consciously choosing to walk away from toxic dynamics. In many cases, turning to supportive friends, family members, or professionals can help you reconcile the pain and re-establish trust in your social instincts. How fake friendships develop. Fake friendships do not always arise from purely malicious intentions. Sometimes they emerge from environments that foster competition and insecurity. Peer groups, workplaces, or social circles that overemphasize popularity, material success, or superficial qualities can set the stage for manipulative connections. People in these spaces might feel intense pressure to measure up, which can encourage them to use others as stepping stones. Similarly, unresolved personal traumas can influence how individuals treat those around them. An inability to form healthy attachments or a lack of proper role models during one's upbringing can lead to harmful relationship patterns. A relationship that starts out genuine can also turn sour over time if one person experiences sudden shifts in life circumstances. For instance, an abrupt elevation in social or professional status might cause jealousy. Past camaraderie could give way to subtle sabotage. Alternatively, an individual's ongoing personal struggle or mental health issues could lead them to adopt unhealthy coping strategies, inadvertently becoming fake friends. This underscores that relationship dynamics are fluid and can change due to external or internal factors. Educational foundations for healthy friendships. Understanding the foundation of healthy relationships can counteract the negative effects of betrayal and foster a balanced approach to future friendships. Many psychological theories underscore the importance of empathy, self-awareness, and effective communication in building strong social ties. Empathy involves the capacity to perceive and relate to what someone else feels, bridging emotional gaps and facilitating genuine connection. People who practice empathy tend to be better listeners and communicators, minimizing misunderstandings. Self-awareness helps individuals recognize their own patterns, positive or negative, and helps them break the cycle of manipulative behavior, whether they are the perpetrator or the victim. Effective communication skills, such as active listening, honest expression of needs, and respectful conflict resolution, provide the backbone of any thriving relationship. In addition, developing boundaries is an educational cornerstone. Boundaries are not walls designed to isolate you, but rather guidelines that determine what is acceptable in your interactions. These guidelines might include determining how you want to be treated, how you wish to spend your time, and how you manage conflict or emotional labor. When boundaries are strong and respectfully enforced, manipulative tendencies have less room to flourish. Though boundary setting can initially feel uncomfortable, especially for those accustomed to people-pleasing, it serves as a powerful tool in filtering out unhealthy relationships and nurturing positive ones. Navigating conflict and repair. Conflict, misunderstandings, and mistakes arise even in healthy friendships. Knowing how to navigate these challenges can help differentiate a real friend from a fake one. In a constructive dynamic, individuals are open to hearing each other out, acknowledging missteps, and compromising when necessary. Forgiveness and emotional repair become realistic options when both parties value the relationship and are prepared to adapt. A disagreement can thereby strengthen the bond rather than destroying it. In a fake friendship, conflicts often devolve into blame games, silent treatments, or further manipulation. When approached about problematic behaviors, insincere friends may offer surface-level apologies or dismiss concerns entirely. They might resort to personal attacks or attempt to shift guilt, refusing to accept their part in the friction. This lack of accountability leaves no room for genuine resolution, eventually eroding trust and goodwill. The stark contrast between these two approaches can be enlightening, helping you to identify whether the bond is worth salvaging. Strategies for moving on. Discovering that a bond is inauthentic carries emotional weight. However, it also opens a doorway to growth, self-discovery, and better relationships in the future. One of the most important ways to move on involves self-reflection. Examine what drew you to the person in the first place and whether any red flags were overlooked. Such introspection might reveal personal patterns, such as over-accommodation, fear of abandonment, or habitually downplaying your needs. Recognizing these tendencies can empower you to break the cycle, ensuring that the same issues do not repeat in your next connections. Grieving the end of a friendship, even a fake one, is natural. The shared experiences, private jokes, or times of seeming support can foster genuine nostalgia and sadness. Embracing these emotions and seeking closure can ease the process of letting go. Journal writing, therapy, or honest conversations with other close connections can help you process this loss. Over time, gratitude for the lesson learned may surface, even though the circumstances were painful. Another meaningful step is to practice self-care and surround yourself with people who show authenticity. Cultivate connections with individuals who are as concerned about your well-being as they are about their own. If a friend repeatedly lifts you up, respects your schedule, or checks in when you feel down, these are signs of a nourishing relationship. By acknowledging those who have always been reliable, you can recalibrate your sense of trust and move forward with a renewed understanding of what healthy friendship looks like. The role of communities and support systems. Community is significant in shaping how friendships evolve. Positive communities, whether they are clubs, shared interest groups, volunteer organizations, or supportive online networks, can encourage empathy, respect, and trust among members. In such environments, the pressure to compete or undermine each other is minimized, and sincerity is valued. Exposure to healthy social dynamics can also sharpen one's ability to detect negative patterns. When you learn what it feels like to be genuinely supported and appreciated, manipulative behaviors stand out more clearly. Conversely, being immersed in toxic subcultures can normalize the very behaviors that define fake friendships. If gossip, social climbing, or exclusion are standard practices within a particular group, members can inadvertently internalize these attitudes. Recognizing such influences in your own life can be a stepping stone to adopting healthier ways of relating to others, whether it is choosing a new group of acquaintances or re-evaluating existing social circles. Such deliberate shifts in environment can greatly impact your capacity to form authentic bonds. Signs of healing and progress. As you gain distance from toxic relationships, signs of healing become evident. There may be a renewed sense of self-worth, an alleviation of anxiety, and a re-establishment of emotional equilibrium. You might find yourself less hesitant to share personal stories or try new experiences, reassured that your circle of friends values you for who you are. Laughter can flow more naturally, and you might even feel bolder in setting boundaries in future interactions. Another indicator of progress is the ability to extend compassion, even to those who were deceptive, without reopening yourself to exploitation. Instead of harboring bitterness, You acknowledge the hurtful actions and still prioritize your emotional health. This sense of emotional freedom is a testament to resilience, showing that hardship did not define you or break your capacity to trust. It simply sharpened your intuition about the people you allow into your life. Cultivating friendships that last. Longevity in a friendship arises from consistent authenticity, mutual support, and empathy. Long-term companions see each other through transformative life stages, academic transitions, career milestones, heartbreaks, relocations, and new family responsibilities. Through each shift, communication adjusts, boundaries evolve, and emotional needs fluctuate. Honoring these changing circumstances is part of the beauty of real friendship. There is a mutual willingness to adapt, accommodate, and explore new facets of each other's lives. If you are looking to cultivate this type of durable bond, self-awareness is vital. Know who you are, what you value, and how you prefer to communicate. This knowledge forms the basis for selecting friends whose values align with yours. Curiosity about the other person's inner world also enhances closeness. When both parties openly share hopes, fears, and passions, emotional intimacy grows. Small acts of consideration, checking in when someone has a big day, remembering details about their favorite food or hobby, or celebrating their achievements, all contribute to a friendship built on trust and affection. Recognizing when reconnection is possible. While some fake friendships ought to be left in the past, there are instances where a friend who once displayed disingenuous behavior might earnestly change. Life is often more nuanced than neat categories, and people can evolve due to therapy, new experiences, or personal epiphanies. If there is evidence of genuine remorse and a willingness to address past mistakes, a pathway to reconciliation may appear. This could require honest communication, a renewed foundation of trust, and a period of rebuilding. The outcome depends on whether both parties are truly committed to transformation. However, not all attempts at rekindling a damaged friendship will result in a positive outcome. Some individuals might feign remorse to regain access to your emotional resources or networks, continuing their manipulative patterns under a new guise. Proceeding with caution and observing changes over time can safeguard you from further harm. An apology alone is not enough. Consistent behavior change is the best indicator of authenticity. Fake friendships in the digital age. Modern technology has altered how friendships are initiated, cultivated, and occasionally distorted. Social media can blur the line between genuine connection and superficial performance. People might add each other as friends online, yet hardly interact in meaningful ways. In this virtual realm, it becomes easier to pretend, project illusions of a perfect life, and amass large social circles lacking substance. Manipulative behaviors, like gossip, exclusion, or fishing for praise, can spread quickly through group chats or public posts. Recognizing these patterns in digital spaces involves monitoring how the person interacts with you across various online platforms. If they tag you only when they need a favor, ignore your messages or comments routinely, or disparage you publicly in an attempt to amuse their followers, those are red flags mirroring the behaviors described earlier. While technology can intensify the reach of these negative behaviors, it can also offer beneficial tools. Blocking or unfollowing harmful individuals, curating your newsfeed, and connecting with supportive online groups can help maintain mental peace. Drawing clear boundaries around digital communication can be as essential as doing so in face-to-face interactions. Fake friendships and mental health. Mental well-being intersects closely with the quality of one's relationships. Feeling perpetually on guard Anticipating betrayal or constantly questioning a friend's intentions can heighten stress levels and contribute to conditions such as anxiety disorders or depression. Individuals who have a history of repeated letdowns might begin to view themselves as unworthy of genuine love or support. This skewed self-image can spill into other facets of life, making professional growth, family relationships, and romantic partnerships more challenging. One method of prevention lies in building a robust support system. Mental health professionals often underscore that having even a few sincere, trustworthy connections can buffer the negative effects of stress. Engaging in open discussions about experiences with potential fake friends can clarify whether you are overreacting or if your concerns are legitimate. Trusted confidants or therapists can also propose strategies for boundary setting, conflict resolution, and emotional self-care. By proactively seeking assistance, you minimize the long-term impact on your mental health and gain a clearer perspective on your worth and dignity. Empowerment through education. A vital takeaway from learning about these harmful relationship patterns is empowerment. By recognizing the cues, you shift from passive recipient to active decision-maker in your social life. The transformation may be uneasy at first because it involves confronting illusions, discussing uncomfortable truths, or even cutting ties with those who show a pattern of disrespect. Yet the sense of liberation that follows can be life-changing. It frees up emotional space for enriching, meaningful interactions. You become more adept at identifying what a healthy bond looks like, whether in friendships, work teams, or even romantic partnerships. Educational empowerment also fosters empathy. Being aware of why some people become fake friends can trigger compassion for those struggling with deep insecurities or developmental deficits. This does not excuse manipulative behavior, but it can lighten the emotional load, especially if you choose to move on. Understanding is not the same as permission, and you are entitled to protect your well-being. Nonetheless, insight into root causes can facilitate a balanced view that acknowledges humanity's complexity. Facing social consequences, addressing or distancing yourself from a fake friend might produce ripples in your broader social environment. Mutual acquaintances might ask questions, speculate about hidden drama, or even encourage reconciliation. Depending on the friend's popularity or influence, you could face pressure or judgment for choosing to step away. This can be especially difficult in close-knit groups where members fear disruptions. The tension may arise at events or gatherings, especially if your former friend continues to spread distorted versions of events. Despite these possible complications, staying true to your sense of self-respect is paramount. Rational discussions and calmly sharing your reasons with those who inquire can help maintain your credibility. In many cases, people who care about your well-being will recognize that your decision was measured and not impulsive. Over time, your integrity speaks for itself. If the fake friend continues engaging in harmful behaviors with others, that pattern will likely become evident. Although the fallout can feel isolating initially, it often leads to deeper connections with those who value truth and decency. Exploring professional help. Some experiences with fake friends can inflict serious emotional damage. Perhaps you lost career opportunities due to slander, or maybe you grapple with intense trust issues that hamper daily functioning. In such situations, working with a mental health professional can expedite recovery and foster emotional resilience. Therapists can offer coping mechanisms for anxiety and depression, help reframe negative beliefs about oneself, and teach effective communication strategies for future relationships. Group therapy or support groups can be especially helpful if the betrayal happened within a tight-knit community, such as a college club or specialized work environment. Sharing stories with others who have faced similar forms of deception can validate your experiences and alleviate feelings of shame or isolation. Observing how others overcame or handled parallel situations might also inspire new ways of coping. Redefining your social identity. When a fake friendship ends, the identity you held in relation to that bond might shift. You may no longer attend certain gatherings or partake in the same inside jokes. The absence can create an identity void, making you wonder who you are without that person around. Yet this is an opportunity for reinvention. You can realign your hobbies, interests, or communal affiliations with your authentic values, rather than twisting yourself to fit into a contrived narrative. This self-discovery phase can usher in fulfilling new friendships formed on shared passions and genuine interest. Engaging in activities that resonate with your sense of purpose, whether it is volunteering, artistic expression, sports, or continuing education, cultivates self-esteem and invites like-minded individuals into your circle. The process of forging new connections might be slow, but each step is more likely to build authentic camaraderie. Over time, you may feel grateful that the fake friend's departure allowed you to become more aligned with your true self. Valuing quality over quantity. Sometimes, people fear letting go of a bad friend because they worry about social isolation. This fear can compel them to endure toxic behaviors for the sake of maintaining a certain image or filling a social quota. However, what truly matters is the quality of interactions, not just the number of people in your sphere. A smaller circle of empathetic, dependable friends can provide far more emotional nourishment than a broad network rife with shallow or manipulative relationships. In fact, minimal but meaningful connections can significantly improve your overall happiness. Engaging in self-care routines, such as regular exercise, journaling, meditative practices, or simply setting aside time for relaxation, can act as emotional fortification. By taking deliberate steps to care for your mind and body, you are signaling your own worthiness of respect and love. This alignment of actions with values becomes the cornerstone for future interactions. Over time, these practices enhance your ability to detect and repel those who would misuse your trust. Embracing the lessons. Every difficult experience, including a fake friendship, carries a hidden educational component. The frustration, hurt, and disappointment can become catalysts for profound personal growth. You learn more about what kind of friend you want to be, what you truly value in others, and how to interpret social signals more accurately. This knowledge, coupled with increased self-awareness, refines your social intuition. It becomes easier to differentiate genuine kindness from opportunistic flattery, or mindful presence from mere self-absorption. Although the lessons can be painful, they are invaluable. In time, many people can reflect on these experiences with gratitude that they are now better prepared to attract authenticity. The journey towards stronger connections begins with a willingness to face uncomfortable truths about who you allow to remain close. This reflection process helps ensure that future friendships are built on a more solid foundation. Fostering a healthy social landscape. On a community or societal level, recognizing and calling out fake friendship behaviors can contribute to a healthier collective. If enough individuals resist gossip, exclusion, blame shifting, and manipulative practices, social norms gradually shift. It becomes less acceptable to use people for personal gain or entertainment. Encouraging open dialogue about emotional well-being and relational ethics whether in schools, workplaces, or online forums, can spread awareness and encourage supportive environments where sincerity thrives. Leaders in any group, such as teachers, team managers, or community organizers, can set an example by refusing to condone negative behaviors and by mediating conflicts constructively. Workshops, team-building events, or conflict resolution sessions can nurture empathy and understanding among members. By sowing the seeds of positive interaction, entire networks begin to shift away from superficial alliances, thus diminishing the space for fake friendships. Hope in authentic bonds. Though this exploration has emphasized the signs and repercussions of disingenuous connections, it is critical to maintain hope in authentic bonds. Many people do strive to be trustworthy, caring, and reliable. Friendships that flourish from these qualities can become some of life's greatest treasures. They offer companionship in good times, solace in bad times, and a sense of shared meaning in everyday experiences. When you encounter such genuine individuals, you may notice a stark difference in how you feel around them: relaxed, accepted, free to be yourself. Even if you have been hurt in the past by one or more fake friends, these genuine interactions can help restore faith in the power of human connection. Healthy friendships can also reinforce the personal growth sparked by previous betrayals as you practice new communication skills, boundary setting, and empathy. Conclusion: navigating the realm of relationships requires discernment, openness, and resilience. False friends can undermine your sense of security and self-esteem through behaviors like gossiping behind your back, discarding blame onto you, frequently cancelling arrangements, excluding you from social activities, asking for favors without genuine care, offering backhanded compliments, or monopolizing conversations to the point where your experiences are overshadowed. Each of these behaviors reflects a lack of respect, empathy, and authenticity in the relationship, revealing that the friendship is, in fact, more of a charade. The psychological toll is real, often resulting in anxiety, stress, and lingering self-doubt. Yet there is a silver lining. By educating yourself about the hallmarks of fake friendship, you empower your own sense of agency. You gain the capacity to spot potential red flags early on, preserving your time and emotional resources for those who reciprocate your trust and kindness. Relationships become richer when guided by clear boundaries, open communication, and a mutual commitment to each other's well-being. Though it can be disheartening to acknowledge that someone you care for might not share your sincerity, it is ultimately more painful and more destructive to remain in a dynamic that saps your self-worth. Real friendship glows with warmth, encouragement, and acceptance. It can withstand misunderstandings, disagreements, and life changes because the bond rests on mutual goodwill and honesty. The absence of hidden agendas fosters deeper connections, paving the way for personal growth and lifelong memories. Recognizing fake friendships is not about cultivating cynicism. Rather, it is an invitation to embrace discernment, value your well-being, and make space for relationships that truly nourish and sustain you. By absorbing these insights, reflecting on your past connections, and moving forward with greater awareness, you can gradually shape a social life that mirrors your core values and aspirations. The path to healthy, supportive friendships may have its twists and turns, but with each step you take toward greater self-knowledge and respect, you enhance your ability to discern genuine companions from those who only pretend. Such discernment paves the way for lasting bonds that enrich your world, proof that, even in a sea of superficial interactions, true friendship still shines and remains profoundly worth seeking and cherishing.